A very good morning. A very good morning to one and all. Sports is a preserver of health. Sports and health are so important to us that they deserve to be right at the mind of people's front. It's a day to listen to the sportsmen who, with their achievements and experiences, have come to us to awaken the inner athlete in us. We need to channel the athlete energy into beating the opponents we face every day to win our personal championship. And today, the biggest opponent is COVID-19. Well, dear friends, extending a hearty welcome to all of you to this week-long National Faculty Development webinar on the impact of COVID-19 on the higher education and the society, organized by Government First Grade College, Hoskote, located in rural Bangalore. I am Prasanna Udpikar, Associate Professor from the Department of English. Before we get started, as many new participants are going to join us, I would just brush up the housekeeping that you need to follow when the session starts. All of your audios are muted from the central control unit. Hence, any questions or any opinions you have got to express, your responses, your suggestions, you need to type it out in the chat box, which you find in your control panel. Your questions would be taken up after the session because, as you know, this is the fourth day. After every session, we have an interactive session where your questions will be taken up and the resource person is going to speak to us. Well, dear friends, two minutes more. Now, as it is Sunday today, there is a slight change in the usual schedule. Along with the resource person, we have also invited a special guest. And the special guest is none other than Col.SB Chhetri. Col.SB Chhetri, being the special guest of the day, deserves an introduction. He is a commanding officer in NCC battalion. Let me give the glimpses of his achievements. He is well known as a marathon runner. Col.SB Chhetri had run plenty of full marathons, half marathons, and 10-kilometer runs. Last event was Tata Mumbai Marathon on 19th January 2020. He finished 42.2 kilometers with timing 3 minutes, 3 hours, 19 minutes and 6 seconds. He joined Indian Army in 1991 in an infantry regiment. Since the last 5 years in NCC, he has spent almost 5 years serving in NCC in Karnataka state, and he is located in Chikkabalapur. Over to Col.SB Chhetri. Sir?
Thank you, madam.
Yes.
Namaskar, Jai Hind. As madam has already told about the importance of physical fitness and health. Being a soldier Uh, it had been a routine part of my life throughout my service. I have completed around 29 years of service. But what I am going to speak to you today, whatever I have gained during my service, and especially since last 5 years when I started running marathons after coming to Bangalore. As we say, a sound mind in a sound body. Now, I know that most of the participants are from the educational background, and I am very much concerned about the health of our teachers, our professors, our educationists, because they are the person whose voice is heard by lakhs of students, and you can make a change in their life by motivating them to become healthy and stay fit, and to make a good routine for their life, so that they are working very hard and they are going to achieve their goal, but simultaneously in the same time they should be able to enjoy the fruit of their achievements and success if they are healthy and fit. Now, how a normal person or normal human being can stay healthy and fit? What I'm not a expert on this subject. Whatever I have earned or whatever I have gained, that is through my experience and whatever I have done myself. What I feel that a daily routine is very important in our life. We have different kind of jobs. Our working hours are different. One has to devise a way how to make a structured daily routine. That should include some physical activities, thereafter some rest, and again your work related some works related to your job, and you need to spend some time with the family also, because you have to relieve of your stress, during which knowingly unknowingly it comes during our nature of job or while we are working. For that, recreation is also very much required. So these things are very important, uh, important parts in daily routine, and we need to structure them in a way so that we have we have to work we have to work in a professional manner. Thereafter, we should be able to regain our energy by recreation and rest and a good diet. That too in timings of diets are very important, that I'll cover subsequently. And recreation and a sound sleep is very much required, so that fit and healthy, and again rejuvenated for the next day to take a next challenge or a new challenge. And what should you include in your workout or the daily routine? It can be any kind of workout in the morning. I prefer to be in the morning, but depending on your nature of your job, you can plan it in the evening also. It can be yoga, some physical activities, running, some cardiovascular exercises at home, at park, at garden, at any health club, anywhere. Some sports, yeah, sports is the way of life, as we say. You can play some sports if you get time, or you get the infrastructure or the facilities nearby to your place. Then I come to running. Running is also a very good cardiovascular exercise. Apart from these things, then your diet is very important. As yesterday, it was very well covered by Mr. K.C. Raghu, food and nutrition expert. I won't be going that much into detail, but I would say a balanced diet which contains all the essential nutrients like proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, all these things should be part of our diet. And with diet and meal, the timings of meals is very important that we have to take. We should be able to finish our breakfast by morning 8:30. Our lunch should be somewhere 1:30, before 2, not after 2. And we should have our dinner by 7:30, 8, before 8, or we should go to sleep by 10, though it won't be, these are the ideal things which I'm saying. If one can incorporate as per their schedule and the workload or their commitments, it is well and good. And we should put off our lights and go to sleep by 10 in the evening, so that we can wake up early in the morning by 4:35, and we are prepared for the next day challenge. And work out what all the workouts and physical activities we can do as a normal human being, as a very I would say normal human being. I'm not talking about the professional runners or the highly trained runners. Just a normal human being can do some physical activities. It can be some sports or running. Now since I had been running since I joined the army, but after almost spending 25 years in the army, and since last 5 years, I am enjoying running. I was running with my all battle load and all these things in the all kind of terrain in our vast country, be it western deserts or the high mountains in Ladakh or northeast regions. I have done everything, but now I am enjoying running. Since last 5 years, when I started running marathon in Bangalore, 2015 October, I ran my first half marathon. I have still remember that day. Now running, why I am advocating running as a good exercise, because running is a most simple way of doing some exercise or physical activities. Is a very good cardiovascular and overall exercise for your entire body. And how there are various types of runners. I know one doesn't have to be a professional runner. We should be running for our physical fitness, on our health, and depending on the level of their standard, I have categorized runners in 3 categories. Generally, some are recreational runners. Then come amateur runners, those who have started running or already spent some time on running and they have gained some level of endurance and fitness. They are endurance runners, but they are not professionals. Their main profession is something else. Next comes the professional runners. These professional runners, as per profession, they identified, or someone who was supervising them identified their talent in time, and they got the proper training and structure. They have become the professional runners. As like we have world champions, Kenyans and Ethiopians, and we have very good runners in our country. And I've seen very good runners in Bangalore and Karnataka also. These are also professional runners, and they also falls in the category of professional runners. Now, as a common, I'm not a professional runner. I categorize myself as an amateur runner, because since I had been running since a long time, and I've gained some level of endurance, and I participated in full marathon, which is considered as the most grueling and the tough physical activity on the earth, or the competition or the event. Though people have devised some more ultra marathons and Ironmans, which are more challenging than the marathon. But they have come through the marathon. Basic concept is marathon or running. As most of us are the recreational or amateur runners. See, one thing I would like to tell you, most of us, including me, I have around 50, and all of my participants are on the 30 plus or 35 or 40, even more than 40, 45. But let me tell you that maximum runners in the world who run marathons are 40 plus. Their percentage is more than 60%. So you are never late to start running. You can start running today, anytime. But once you get into it, you will definitely enjoy this physical activity. And as if someone has watched that event was conducted, and Eliud Kipchoge of Kenya had broken the barrier of 2 hours. 2 hours is was the barrier in marathon, still the barrier as per the official records are concerned. No human being had completed 42.2 kilometers in less than 2 hours. Eliud Kipchoge with the support of a team in Vienna, Austria, Vienna, took this challenge, and he completed this distance in 1 hour, 59 minutes, 40 seconds. Though he was given the ideal conditions, he was paced by the best of the runners in the world. The course was totally flat. What he has done, no human being could ever were able to done that thing. And after finishing that, his words were, "No human is limited." That is the main thing. No human is limited. Anyone can try. To achieve a goal, we have to set practical goals which are achievable by us. Now, how a beginner who has not done running in throughout the life now has reached up to the age of 40, 45. Yes, they can also run. I know a very good runner now, my friend, because we have one more family as a runner's family, and we keep interacting with each other, and we keep sharing the experience and the thoughts and all these things with each other. I know a runner who started running after the age of almost 40, and he had a chance to attend one sports day in her daughter's school. And as we know, sometimes some competitions are also conducted for the parents. He got a chance to run as a father of that girl. He could not run that time, but that person, that determination, that perseverance made him a runner, and today he is one of the best runner in the country in his age category. He is older than me, but he comes ahead of me. Hats off to him. It's only determination and beginning you have to start. Then how a person who is just new to the running can start? Please start with walk. And golden rule is first 10-minute walk, then you can run 200, 400, 500 meters, whatever distance you can run comfortably. Then take a break, walk, then again you can start run. And you can keep adding mileage of 10% every week. That's a normal, I would say, a thumb rule. 10% mileage you can add, and you can run 7 days a week, or you can run 5 days a week, or even you can plan to run 3 days a week, depending on your own commitments towards work and the other family commitments. Now, once you have started running and you start enjoying run, then you can increase your mileage subsequently and simultaneously make friends who are of the same interest, who wants to run, make a group. If you are running in a group, then it is good. Then you can, while running also, you can talk to each other, you can share your ideas, everything. So you will not get bored by the everyday running. Or some people like me can run alone also. But when you are running alone, motivation is requirement of motivation is more. You have to push yourself. And please participate in all these runs also, these 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer runs conducted by the various organization, NGOs. There you will come to know, and you will meet the other peoples with the same interest, with the same goal. You will share your thoughts with them. You will share some platform with them. You will get some recognition. You will get a medal, participation medal, some certificate. You can click photographs. You can get some likes on social media. That will increase the interest in running. That is basically to make yourself interested and motivated, so that you are continuing this thing. You can start participating in runs also, and you can do some charity work also. When you are running, you are contributing towards charity for the good cause in the society. So running is not only just running. Running is an entire movement, and you can associate with you associate yourself with that movement with so many people. And I would say the benefits of the running. First of all, your physical fitness, you will be physically fit, and you will get mental strength also, because running an event, running a race is not only physical, it's mental also. As we say that marathon run is 75% mental, 25% physical. Because after 30 kilometers, actual marathon starts when your physical strength level goes down, but your mental strength and mental robustness take you till the finishing line. Other benefits, it increase your concentration, increase your tolerance, power of tolerance, increase your patience, and it makes you a better person. It makes you stress-free, improves your overall personality, and gives you confidence. You can, as a father, on the lighter side, I can wear my son's jeans or t-shirt. Lady, a mother can share a t-shirt with her daughter. That should be just for, I would say, just on the lighter side. And what I have experienced since last 5 years, running has given me a chance to meet a lot of people, to make new friends, to go to new places, from Bangalore to going to Mumbai, or for all these runs in area in around Bangalore. I have met so many people. I made good friends. I'm in touch with them. We keep sharing our thoughts on running and all these things. And that is my experience. And now, since I've already mentioned that most of our participants in this platform are from educational background, you are the teachers, you are the professor, and when you speak, people hear you, students hear you. Please tell them to stay healthy, to include these workouts or some physical activity in their daily routine, so they take care of their health. When they are going to achieve their goals, they will able to enjoy the fruits of their achievements later in the life. Otherwise, as we all are seeing in the society that we are running behind our goals, but we are not able to achieve or enjoy the fruits of our success at the later stage. That is what I wanted to tell. And now I have finished with my talk. I wish you a healthy life, stress-free life, and especially in this environment where COVID-19 has restricted movements, still we can do these physical activities in some restricted manner or in a reduced capacity also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was wonderful time for us to listen to you. A participant tells that if a person of 45 years old, this question is from Suresh HS, who says that if a person of age 45 years, if he is on the obese side, too fat, overweight, if he starts running now, listening to your words, what would be his fate?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As I said, there is no hurry. You are never late, and there is no hurry also. There's a very contradicting statement given by me. But first, you have to reduce your weight. You can start with your walk or brisk walk. And you have to take care of your diet. You have to reduce the intake of carbohydrates initially, or all these other junk food and all these things. Just stick to the normal home cooked food and take in time. As I mentioned earlier, timings of meal is very, very important. And first try to reduce your weight by walk and brisk walk. And in between, simultaneously, you will build up your running and you can increase your mileage subsequently. And I request whosoever who has not run earlier, please do a normal initial physical checkup by some doctor so that they can advise you or about that thing. But it can be done. A person after age of 45, if he or she is on the higher side of weight, they can also start running, but they have to go subsequently in a phased manner.
Thank you, sir. That was a wonderful answer. What sir says is, he says that running is good. And if you are on the fatter side, walking is better. So before you start with any sports activities, don't start with it rigorously. You need to take doctor's advice first. And the message that he has given us It's not all about winning, but it is the attitude to keep yourself fit. Uh, so with these words, now we move on to the resource person. Good morning, Sajju sir. Good morning, Sajju sir.
Good morning.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Now, Dr. Sajju Joseph is with us. He's the resource person. He has done PhD from Alagappa University and has worked as scientific officer, training methods in Sports Authority of India for 17 years. He was head of education, research and biomechanics department of National Institute of Sports, Malaysia for 15 years. He was the trainer of Indian senior, junior, men and women hockey team from 1996 to 2004. He was also the assistant coach for Malaysian hockey team. Dr. Sajju Joseph was the trainer for Karnataka Ranji cricket team for 1998 and 1999. Many cricketers like Rahul Dravid, Jaugal Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad, Anil Kumble, Dodda Ganesh, Sujit Somasundar, Vijay Bharadwaj, Sunil Joshi, and many more were trained by Dr. Sajju Joseph. He has worked with various top-level sportspersons in India and Malaysia. Presently, Dr. Sajju Joseph is working as High Performance Director in Thai NSSC, Bangalore. Sir, a very hearty welcome to you. And before you start, many more participants have joined. I extend a very hearty welcome to all of them to this webinar, which is organized by Government First Grade College, Hoskote, which is located in rural Bangalore. Now, I hand over the platform to Dr. Sajju Joseph.
Can I share the screen, madam?
Yes, sir, you can share the screen.
It's not disabled, madam.
It's, yeah, we'll enable you to share the screen.
Yeah.
Yes, it's done now.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can screen. You can make it full screen. Yes, sir. Perfect it is.
Okay.
So today's topic is theoretical insight in, yes, 1 second. There is a technical hitch. Today's topic is theoretical insight into running mechanics. I'm sure our participants are eagerly awaiting for the insights that Dr. Sajju Joseph would be unraveling on this topic, that is theoretical insight into running mechanics. Over to Dr. Sajju Joseph.
Thank you, madam. First of all, my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the principal, Dr. Muni Narayanappa of Government First Grade College, Hoskote, and also to Dr. Srinivaslu, Physical Education Director, for having invited me to deliver a lecture on the theme impact of COVID-19 on higher education and society. Thanks to Madam Prasanna, the Master of Ceremony, for having given a brief introduction about me. Dear teachers, ladies and gentlemen and friends, a very good morning to you all. So today my topic is theoretical insight into running mechanics, and probably from Colonel Chhetri, you must have already heard what is running all about and how much dedication it takes for you to really do a marathon run. So I'm not going to too much into the scientific aspect of running. I know that there are only around 30 teachers in this group who are physical education, and rest of them are general teachers. But why I chose this topic is mainly because teachers are the best observers, and if they're in a position to observe and correct the students, probably that would be the best thing what a sports person can achieve. Because always not just the physical education teacher who, of course, he is the one who has got a lot of ideas, but then even other teachers, language teachers or other science teachers, if they also are in a position to observe the things and put the things in right perspective, it will be really good. So before going into uh, this topic, I would just like to let you know something which is happening in our area, that is with our national level athletes. Athletes during this period are unable to train. So we asked Sindhu, PV Sindhu badminton player, okay, how much she is in a position to put effort to train for Olympics. So she was telling about 60%. So what she has is she has a sensor, which is when she does exercise at home, she is in a position to monitor how much calories she has burned, and she is in a position to give a feedback about that. Mary Com, boxer, she says she is in a position to run some distance in Manipur, because Manipur it's actually more of village area. So there she is in a position to run and do some activity. But most of our weightlifters were really hit. Hardly they could do 10% because they were not allowed to get into the weight training hall. All the gyms were closed. All the strength training facilities were closed. So other than what they can do with their own body weight, they were not in a position to do any other thing. So what has happened, people who takes maximum strength training load always during the training session, they have lost the strength levels to a great extent. Now we do not know how much loss is there. Only after when they come back to the national camp and when they start their training and when we do the test to see what is the strength level, we can really quantify how much of strength loss is there. And lucky that, okay, the Olympics have been postponed for some time, and that's how they are in a position to, they may be in a position to train and then maybe in a position to qualify for the Olympics later on. Now, some of the shooters, they are very well, they do have a lot of money, and they also have their own shooting ranges. So they were in a position to continue their training. Some shooters, like pistol shooters, they made the range in their house, starting from the bedroom straight for a distance of 10 meters to the kitchen. They put up a target and they were training there. So this all shows the dedication of the athletes. See, even at this stage, they are in a position to somehow find an alternative method and do the training in their own houses or in their own ranges. Now, if you look into the Sports Authority of India Center, Bangalore, where the national hockey team, men and women, were training, the campus was closed down, and nobody was allowed to go inside, nor anyone from inside were allowed to go outside. So that utmost care has been taken for these athletes, so that they don't get affected with COVID, and our team's performance in future competitions are affected. So what we did was that we held a lot of meetings with these athletes through Zoom. A lot of programs were rolled out to them. Various coaches were asked to prepare training programs and sent to them. And to a certain extent, even Sports Authority of India went to supply the equipments to various athletes in their home so that they can continue the training. So apart from that, we organized more than 75 online Facebook sessions. So these are some of the Facebook sessions which you can see in various sports, various talks, and various experts in nutrition, psychology, training methods, biomechanics, then physiotherapy, athletic therapy, and so on. Lots and lots of people had come and delivered lectures, and even international athletes like Gopi Chand, you had Mary Kom, Viren Raskina, and so on. They also gave a lot of motivation talks during this period. And these were some of the speakers on in their subjective expert. Then we also organized quiz competitions. So Mr. Joy Bhattacharya, he was organizing daily quiz competitions for a period, and the prize winners were awarded with some gifts. And more than 1 month duration online coaching courses for various sports disciplines were there, and more than 1 month duration applied sports science and sports medicine courses also were conducted. Organized online training classes for athletes. Then some athletes technique corrections. If they send the video, then we look into the technique and then we analyze that, and we used to do the technique correction. Then e-Pathshala, which is actually kicking from tomorrow onwards for nearly around 30 sports disciplines. So these are some of our trial versions of e-Pathshala in boxing. So the coaches is to demonstrate from the training center, and the athletes is to do the training in their respective area where they are at home or in their village or wherever it is. So they used to come online and they used to do the training. So these were our trial workshops. And you can see down here, you can find a cycling session also. See, someone who is doing a cycling, race cycling. So we see what is actually happening to the cyclist while he is doing the cycling. So if there is any mistake, okay, then we try to do the bike fitting for these athletes. Bike fitting is something where you fit the bike according to the physical structure of the athlete. So we do bike fitting, and how the bike fitting has to be done. Measurements are done through video. We give feedback, and they do the modification in Manipur or in New Delhi, wherever they are situated. So those sessions also were conducted. And these are some of the e-Pathshala programs which actually starts from tomorrow onwards. And there is also a physical education and community coaching program which will be again inaugurated tomorrow by our sports minister, and various speakers from abroad will be conducting various lectures. So these are some of the things what we have been doing during this COVID time. And now let's come to the topic, an insight into the running mechanics. So why running analysis? So each runner has an individual gait. Gait means their mode of running. Okay, so there are basically you find people with endo, ecto, meso. That means fat, thin, or more muscular. There's a muscular type of body, and then they also have the physical structure is different. Some are tall, so they have better stride length. Some are fast, they have better stride frequency. Level of flexibility plays an important role in running. Level of strength and type and grade of injury. Now, for example, some people who are injured when they start to train, start to run, then the type and grade of injury plays an important role in deciding their running mechanics. So whether one is recovering from an injury or trying to set a new personal record, it's always necessary that you do a running analysis and try to identify your individual problems, and try to do alternative solutions to enable them to be rectified. So good running mechanics ensures good momentum, more momentum, less resistance and better output, less effort and recovery, less aches, reduce pains and stress, and bring about more consistency and enjoyment in running. Now, these are some of the basic principles associated with running, anatomy and kinesiology. I hope you all know about kinesiology aspects. I'm not going to discuss much on this. Just to give an idea, physics, external factors. External factors means here I mean is that the environment in which you are running. Now, for example, running on grass is totally different. Running on road is different. Running on a synthetic track is different. Running in beach is different. Running in water is different. So these environmental factors plays an important role in running. So all these three contribute to your running posture and motion. And if you are running, you have a good running posture and motion, then probably it will reduce stress and impact of injury will be relatively less. Good posture again will enable you to have increased energy and will have better efficiency in running. And ultimately, it will all contribute to improving your running speed. With little more biomechanical attributes corrections, probably that will also add to further improvement of speed and improved physical and physiological qualities. That also will enable you to have better running speed. So what's actually the main difference between running and walking? I know, I mean, normally I would like to have an interaction here, but then in this online courses, probably it's very difficult to have interaction, but okay, I'll just straight away go for walking. So in walking, what happens is that the foot is always in contact with the ground. Whenever you keep moving your foot forward, then there's always a contact of the ground is there. Whereas in running, for a fraction of a second, you are in the air. Both your legs are in the air. So there are various methods to analyze running and walking. I'll just give you a small video here. This is a markerless motion technology which was supposed to be used in Japan, there's Tokyo Olympics. And here we don't have to put any marker on the person's body, only we have to have a set of cameras, and then we digitize the body, especially various joints, and that is connected, and then you can see how the athlete is performing. So there we can know about the angles, angular velocity. You want to track the ball, you can know, you can also track the ball. You can see how the person is hitting the stroke, what are the mechanics involved in the stroke. If he's doing a gymnastic event, okay, then probably on the mechanics, gymnastics. The person kicking football. So these all actually helps in learning, skill acquisition. You want to make an athlete to really acquire a skill, then probably analysis of elite athletes would help you in really getting into the know-how of execution of a technique. Okay, so I'll just stop this here. This is actually quite long. Okay, so there is another method which is actually with marker, motion analysis with marker. So in the body, we put around 56 markers on various joints, and these are reflective markers, and we use infrared cameras to analyze the running motion or whatever activity which you do. So when you actually capture the images from the through the infrared cameras, these markers will be reflecting like this. And these markers are being joined by lines, and based on that, we develop a model such as like a skeletal model, a 3D video model, and you can analyze the mechanics of the athletes from this 3D video model. So here we have a skeletal model of an able-bodied athlete who is running, and you can view the main thing in 3D analysis is that you can view the athlete from different angles: front view, side view, back view, superior view. All those views you can look into. Okay, from here, when we do analysis, we get some temporal information. So like now, for example, here we have done an analysis on one athlete who run at 12 kilometers, 14, 16, 18, and 20 kilometers. So these are some of the parameters which we can look into: step length, stride length, stance time, flight time, step, and also a comparison between right and left. So here you can see this person is running with right leg having greater step length compared to the left leg, and the flight time, that is when he is in the air, the left leg has more flight time compared to the right leg. So in this particular speed, you can understand that okay, the right leg is putting a lot of effort in pushing off and making the left leg to fly in the air for longer time. So this way, actually, there are many things which you can I can explain to you here, but then I'm only just limiting to certain aspects. So here you can see something on knee flexion and knee extension angles. So I'm not going to explain on all these things, but just to give you an idea about what all things could be analyzed. I'm just put a slide here. And here there is a Paralympic athlete who has a single arm amputee. You can just observe his running mechanics. When he is running, how is running, how his foot movement is taking place, and just because one single arm only is being propelled, so there is actually a lot of upper body trunk rotation is there taking place, and because of that, he ends up in injuries on the other other aspects. I mean, other side of the body, that is on the left side of the body. So basically, there are actually two external forces or that acts on the body. One is force of gravity, and then Newton's third law of third law, that is opposing force. So one is from the top. That means if I drop some object from top, it just falls down. Why it falls down? That is because of the gravitational pull. So when it's actually contacting with the ground, there is also a rebound force that is taking place. That is Newton's third law. Not going to explain much on that, but then just giving an idea. So force of gravity, if it is falling through the aligned posture, that means I don't have a mannequin, so I'm making use of my daughter's Barbie as a mannequin to explain to you all this. So let's say if you are running, if you have your earlobe, shoulder joint, hip joint, ankle joint, if all these are aligned in one line, then you have a better efficiency of running. So, and a bit of lean, that means instead of remaining straight like this, if a lean body is there, means that will assist you in external propulsion. Here, I just want to actually ask you a question here. While I want you to reply in the chat box, okay? Can you all reply in the chat box? My question is like this, okay? If you want to start a movement, walk forward or run forward, which should be the first part of the body that moves? Whether it should be the foot that is moving, or the knee, hip joint, or the shoulder joint, or the head. Which part? If you're just, okay, you can put it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Just type your answers quickly on to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think nobody's typing. Okay, many people have given answers as leg, foot. Okay, okay, good. Yeah, appreciate the answers. Okay. Only few people have given as the correct answer. Okay, the first part which should move is the head. Okay. Why head should move? Because if you move your foot forward, what is actually happening is that now this is the center of gravity of the body. Okay, the line of center of gravity falls in this line. So when you move your foot forward, the body is still in between the base. Okay, so greater the base, better the stability. So you are not dislodging yourself. So if you want to dislodge yourself, the center of gravity should fall outside the base. So first thing you need to move is to move your head. So in that case, automatically your body will move. This is not only in case of running or walking, it is also in any sport you take, any movement you take. In shuttle, if you want to react to a shuttle, the first movement is to move your head. In goalkeeping, if you want to react to a penalty kick, the first movement should be your head movement. So if you're only moving your hand or leg and keeping the head, you don't actually cover the distance. So you will not be in a position to successfully save the goal, that penalty kick or penalty stroke attempt. So if you move your head, automatically the distance moved is relatively more, and you can cover and anticipate the ball at an early stage. So same way in running also, you want to move forward, your center of gravity should fall outside the base of support. So here again, external propulsion is again through a forward lean. So that will facilitate you to push your body forward. And there is also another force which is acting on your foot while your foot is landing. That is again the third law of Newton. I'll come more into that later. Now, as I told you that third law of Newton, had the earth would not have opposed you while you're doing the exercise, then probably you would have gone down into the earth. So if you want to do any kind of strength exercises or explosive exercises, now for example here the push-up, a person's strength is developed basically when you push against the ground, automatically the body goes upward, thus facilitating the elbow extension, where the elbow extension is facilitated by the muscles, that is triceps muscle, and that's how you develop the triceps muscle. So same way in running, when you land onto the ground, you want to propel forward, your foot landing mechanics has to be really proper in order to facilitate the observation of the shock and also transfer your body weight into mid stance and then push yourself forward further. Then there are also some internal forces acting on the body while running. That is the force of leg swing. Now let's say the person is swinging the leg from the heel kick action is swinging. So if your core, that is the hip joint, is not strong enough, then probably you find the knee joint going in a wobbling action that will put a lot of load onto the hip and resulting in injury. Okay. Similarly, force of approaching ground and push-off force, that is actually when you're pushing off this particular stage time where actually you're pushing off, plays again an important role that will facilitate you to cover more distance. If your push-off is relatively less here, then your distance covered in each stride length or step length will be relatively less. So in a book, Born to Run, they have defined running as running is just a controlled fall. So what I explained earlier, that means every time you are allowing your center of gravity to fall forward ahead of the base, so actually you tend to fall, and then you, in order to break the fall, you put your foot forward. That will facilitate you to control your body, and it's running is basically placement of foot at each time when you have a tendency to fall is leads to the running. Okay. So in running again, level of pelvis plays an important role. Pelvis is most important in terms of holding the central part of the body. So here the core strength is relatively important. Here you can see this athlete has a good pelvic position. When the foot is landing, almost it is parallel. Whereas in this athlete, when he is landing on one foot, the one left pelvis is higher than the right one, and also there is actually a compensation of right shoulder in relation to the left shoulder. So this shows that, okay, this athlete does not have real core strength and has a problem in running. So in running, when you analyze, you find that the pelvis actually has different movements, like obliquity, that is sideways movement. So here you find that, okay, the person is moving sideways. Then anterior and posterior tilt, that is forward and backward. And then rotation, that means every time when you are running, you have a tendency to have each time the pelvis moving forward and backward. So this again leads to a control of this will help you in having a better efficiency in running, whereas an uncontrolled movements in terms of all this obliquity, tilt, and rotation will reduce your running speed. In postural alignment, you need to see that, okay, the head is up and looking always forward. So that will assist you in maintaining a relatively better posture alignment. And at foot contact, that is the foot contacting at the floor. Now here actually this is an analysis done on an athlete. Okay, so when if your graph is towards this side, that means towards this area. If it is more towards this front area, then you are landing on more on to the front foot part. Whereas if it is more towards the end, then you are always landing on to the heel contact area, more closer to the heel. So that can lead to a lot of injuries in running. Whereas in walking, it is heel toe movement. But in running, if you are in a position to shift your body weight into the forefoot, then probably relatively you will have lesser injuries. And another important thing is that heel kick. Heel kick is an important aspect. So here you can see the athlete almost closing his heel to almost the buttocks. So what happens is that there is less loading on hip joint, and this will also facilitate in increase in stride length. There are basically two types of runners. One is called as aerial runners, and another one is called as category called as terrestrial runners. So people who have their people who have the heels almost close to the buttocks, they are called as aerial runners. And people only just lift the leg that's almost up to the knee level, parallel to the knee level, they are called as terrestrial runners. Now in these two types of runners, the main difference is that now the person who is having a heel closer to the buttocks will have relatively a shorter radius of rotation of knee joint and the leg, whereas the person who is having longer, that is terrestrial runner, will have a longer radius of rotation. So basically what happens to the hip joint is that for terrestrial runners, there will be higher hip loading. So you need to develop the core strength of your hip to a great extent for terrestrial runners. Whereas for this aerial runners, relatively, you don't have to do that much of strength training for hip loading because they have better running mechanics. Then high knee action is another important thing. That means from the heel kick action, when you're running forward, the thigh is almost parallel to the ground. Here, if you see here, thigh is almost parallel to your ground. So higher the high knee action, you can cover more distance. That means your stride length will be relatively greater. Now there are basically three types of pelvic position in normal, that is in human beings. One is called as one is normal, one is anterior tilt. That means in anterior tilt you can find the pelvis is dropped forward and the edge side you can see the buttocks slightly pushed back. and posterior tilt pelvis, which is actually the head of the pelvis is more towards back, and the normal pelvis is in between this. Now, the advantage and disadvantage for these people who have this anterior and posterior pelvic tilt is like this. In anterior tilt, when actually they are pushing off from the ground, they will be in a position to extend the hip, knee, and ankle joint to a greater extent. So the push off part will be greater in people who are having anterior tilt. Whereas in posterior tilt, because of tight abdominals and tight hamstring, okay, what happens is that you could have developed a better abdominal strength over here, and because of the range of movement now facilitates little more high knee action. You find that people who have this kind of posterior tilt, they will have tighter abdominals and also tighter hamstring, because the pelvis is tilted that is towards the back side. So they will have relatively higher high knee action. These people want to have higher high knee action. So in one case it is positive for driving. In another case it is positive for high knee actions. Then running technique, arm swing is quite important. Always swing your arm close to the body. Here you find that, see, where the person is actually swinging 41 degrees away from the body. Okay. So what is actually happening is that when you swing your arms close to your body, your shoulder rotation and trunk rotation is relatively less. But as and when the distance between the shoulder joint is increased, that means, so there will be a lot of rotation from the trunk point. So you will have this unnecessarily lot of trunk rotation which is taking place. That will reduce your speed. And normally you can find when weightlifters or wrestlers, when they run, you find that because they don't have good control of their core area and their arm swing is relatively wide, you find that the trunk rotation is more in them, and that's why the running speed is relatively less. So another thing is elbow angle. Okay, so the elbow angle should be almost maintained up to 90 degrees. Sometimes you find that the elbow is extended. Now in this here you find that, okay, this girl, the elbow is relatively extended. So longer the radius, the time taken for the arm swinging forward and backward will be shorter. I mean longer. Shorter the radius, the arm swinging will be relatively faster. And I think already I've discussed about the shoulder drop downs. Here again, shoulder pelvis drop. So from the analysis point of view, okay, if you look into these two aspects, pelvis drop downs and the shoulder drop downs from frontal view, this is from the side view, and this is from the superior view. So here you can see, okay, how much of shoulder rotation is taking place from top view. So greater the rotation, then your running speed will be relatively low. You find that in injured athletes, you find that, okay, always their body is backward. That is, the upright body position is back towards back when they're running. Relatively long distance runner has a vertical posture, and a sprinter relatively have a leaning forward body posture. And for this athlete, if you look into the last athlete, if you see the upper body, due to fatigue, there is a curved upper back. So the leaning is not there. He is trying to lean, but then the curvature of the body, that is curvature on the spine, reduces his leaning, and it also reduces his efficiency to push off. Now, in running, basically from the lower extremity point of view, there are three muscles which actually involved in the push-off phase. One is the calf muscle, one is the quadriceps muscle, and one is the glute muscle. All these three muscles has to contract. So here you can see this athlete relatively the knee extension is there, and when in this athlete, when it's actually pushing off, when the toe is in contact with the ground, the knee is not totally extended to 180 degrees. So what is actually happening is that the calf muscle is contracting to maximum, but quadriceps is only contracting and 23 short of 23 degrees of knee extension. So that means something around 80% of quadriceps muscle is only contracting. And if the glute muscle has to contract, then probably if you look into this exercise, if the glute muscle has to contract, the knee should be extended like this. This is actually Sandeep Singh, who is a hockey drag flicker and now presently the sports minister of Haryana. He is doing this exercise. You can see the glute muscle contracts here because the knee is extended. Had he kept the knee flexed like this athlete, then the glute muscle is not contracting. So that is not facilitating you to really push off and gain greater stride length. Now the position of the knee and foot at the strike, foot strike, that is a position of knee and ankle joint at foot strike is quite important. Now here you can see the knee joint at the heel strike is behind the ankle joint. Here the knee and ankle joint is almost in one alignment. Here knee and ankle joint almost in one alignment, but landing on front foot. Here again the ankle is behind relatively. So all this mechanics plays an important role. Now how it plays an important role is like this. Okay, when a person is landing with heel and if the knee is almost straight, then a lot of brake force is generated onto him, and that can lead to a lot of counter movements and can lead to a lot of injuries. So and there could be an ankle injury, calf tightness, knee injury, hamstring pull, or quadriceps pull, or the hip joint, or lower back. So just because the knee is almost straight at the time of foot contact, that leads to all these kind of issues. So if you have relatively a flexed knee during the landing, that is like this earlier one which I showed you, flexed knee with relatively landing on front foot, that will help you to have better efficiency and economy of running. Injured athletes, you can see when injured athletes are running, during the foot contact, their knee angle is relatively less than 130 degree. This is the same athlete with non-injured leg, you find that it will be around 150. Again, this is an injured athlete, 130 degree. This is again an injured athlete, 129 degree. So you find that they have relatively lesser knee angles while the foot is in mid-stand space. Okay, here I just wanted an interaction between the participants and the speaker. So there are actually, you need to give me an answer about this. Okay. These are pictures of an athlete running. Here I've identified 4 abnormal movements. Now while running, you find that the arms are going away from the body during the push phase. Now here you can see that after the heel, push off, the heel, during the heel kick, the hip joint and the knee joint is relatively, it has gone in, and during the high knee action, if you see at the knee joint, it has gone more towards the medial aspects of the body, and when the foot is landing, it is landing on lateral aspects of the feet, that means on the outer aspects of the feet. Now my question is, what is actually the cause of the problem? Is the right arm swing, or is the hip joint, or is it the ankle joint aversion? You give me your answers as 1, 2, 3, 4 out of this. Which one would be the causing the problem. Can I get the answers as 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, Madam, any answers coming in?
Sir, many are participating.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, I find that okay. A lot of answers. Okay.
Sir, it is, see, from Chandrika Raju, it is 1. Vani says it is 2.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Then Nagendra Nayakas.
Okay, no problem. All right.
Harish says it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that,
okay.
Those answers are.
All right. So most of the answers actually, I just wanted you to actually have good interaction. So some people say, okay, 1. Some people say the main
majority is 1, I think, sir.
Okay.
Majority
so, okay. In terms of the question, if you look into the main problem is the arm swing or hip joint or ankle joint aversion. So if you look into from that point of view, the main culprit is the hip joint. Okay. Why it is the main culprit, I'll let you know. Okay. These are all actually the counter forces that is actually taking place. Now see, the arm going outward is because of the knee going inward. So during the high knee action, knee going inward. That means if you don't push your hand backward when the knee is going inward, so this is actually a counter force. If you don't do that, what will happen? The body during the run, it will take a spin. Okay. So in order to control the knee to be restricted to, though it is going across the body, but to a restricted position, the hand is being pushed wide away from your body. Okay, that's one thing. Similarly, during this thing, during the heel kick, when the knee is inward, so there is actually, if you are allowing one limb to swing almost in a straight line like this, then there is no problem. But when something is coming from internal side, that's actually a rotation which is causing onto the hip joint, and there is actually a counter force which is generated. So in order to restrict this counter movement, the person is actually having the foot landing onto the lateral aspect of the feet. So these are all relatively a result of counter movements that is taking place from this. So as a coach or as an athlete, what you need to do is basically, or as a physical education teacher, what you need to do is basically to strengthen and develop core strength. So the core strength is from here to here. If you are in a position to strengthen those to a greater extent, relatively all these problems could be solved. Now here you can see this athlete, the line of swing is inward. This is all because basically they don't have good core strength. So if you actually, when the athlete is running from frontal view, and if you are taking a video of his run, and if the knee joint is almost in this straight line like this for each frame, then he has better core strength. Suppose he is having this kind of movement, relatively his core strength is weak. He is having more of abductor pull. Adductors are not strong enough. That's why he is not in a position to maintain straight line. All right. Now, moving to another area. Now you can find sometimes when the athletes are running, you find that the opposite legs goes and kicks the opposite buttocks. That means right leg is going and hitting the left buttock. Here you find that left leg going and hitting the right buttocks. And because of that, you can see even from the frontal side, there's a lot of internal and external tibial torsion that is taking place when the foot is being planted onto the ground. Now, this is sometimes it's commonly seen in some athletes, but then when you look into the issues, it's all because of some of the mechanical ways in which you are actually working in your training. Now, as a part of this athlete assessment, what we did was that, okay, we put EMG on the hamstring muscles for this athlete. EMG is electromyography. So you can see that here. And we try to study mainly the biceps femoris muscle and semitendinosus muscle while he is doing an exercise called as hamstring curl. So here, if you look into is between his biceps femoris and semitendinous, that is the two superficial muscles which is there here. So you find that these two muscles in left leg is almost activating equally, but whereas in right leg, his biceps femoris muscle is activating relatively higher as compared to a semitendinous group of muscle. Okay, so this is semitendinous here, which is almost here, and the biceps femoris is here. Now, why this is happening is that because the angle of pull is relatively wrong. Here, actually, if you see here, hip joint, knee joint, and ankle joint is almost in a straight line while they're doing the hamstring curl exercise. But in relation to the orientation of the floor, this is not perpendicular to the floor. That means the body is not perpendicular to the floor. It is slightly inclined. So what is actually happening when a person is pulling his knee joint, heel towards buttocks, that means flexion of knee is taking place with some load. What it does is that after an angle of 15 to 20 degree, the biceps femoris muscle tends to pull over compared to the semitendinous group of muscle because the pull is inclined. So what is actually happening is that in training you are doing like that. That's why in running also the same movement is taking place. Now you may ask me a question that, okay, see here left leg is equal. Then why is that here the left leg is going across? Now what you have trained is wrongly on right side, but left leg it is equal. But running is a cyclic activity. So one counter movement, which is one force which is generated from one group of muscle, will result in counter movement of the other extremity, like the earlier running which I showed you. So here the cyclic action which is caused as a cross foot movement, cross foot heel kick in right side will also facilitate in cross foot movement in the left side. So that's why these athletes are running in all this method. Okay. So assessing an athlete is quite important. Now here we have Dhanraj Pillai, hockey player, former Olympian, four Olympics he has played. So he always used to come to assess his muscular strength with me to see whether there is any difference between right leg or left leg, or is the ratio between the quadriceps and the hamstring muscle is well maintained, and what is his peak strength now, that is peak torque at the knee extension, and also looking into this vastus medialis, that is the muscle which is in front, if there is any strength loss in that particular group of muscle, especially in the last 30 degree of knee extension. So he used to come and analyze so that he has a good ratio between quadriceps and hamstring, and that facilitated actually him to last for almost 4 Olympics. It is very difficult for an athlete to play 4 Olympics. That means even including another 8 years of preparation in his basic training age. So totally around 25 years of total dedication to hockey. So had he not been continuously checking all these things, then probably he would not have played 4 Olympics. But he was very conscious about his fitness. That's why he was in a position to maintain his fitness for long time. So these are actually in running, you find that ankle joint and foot landing mechanics varies from athlete to athlete. So this is all depending upon the posture of there's a hip, knee and ankle joint. If there is too much of tibial torsion, or if external tibial torsion or internal tibial torsion, all this leads to wrong foot mechanics, and it needs to be corrected in order to have better efficiency and economy in running. So smooth running technique and planned rehab would guarantee high momentum and low resistance in running, very high energy efficiency, reduces a lot of discomfort, freedom from aches, pains and injury, and ultimately it will help you to improve your speed. And in terms of rehabilitation, if an athlete is going on injured, under injured condition, if he's doing the rehab properly, then probably that will help him to recover at a faster rate, and also it will ensure faster return to play. So with this, thank you very much for your patient listening, and if you have any questions, yes.
Thank you, sir. That was a very informative and very good theoretical analysis you have provided, and the mechanism that the body undergoes in variety of sports, mainly concentrating on running. Participants, now the floor is open for discussion. Any question or any knowledge, any information that you would like to gain from Dr. Sajju Joseph, you can type it in your chat box and we will pick it up. Your questions, please. Sir, participants are busy typing their appreciation for your talk.
All right, thank you, madam.
It's a nice session, sir, about running. Thank you, sir, says one participant. There is Nishanta who tells that it is super, super, super. 3 times she has typed. Very useful. Thank you, sir, says Natraja DK. Wonderful session, Shiv Gowda. There were a couple of questions asked.
Yep.
There's one participant who had asked, if running is very difficult for us, can we do jogging?
Yes, yeah, you can do jogging, no problem in see, jogging is the base of running. Okay. Okay, what is your aim of jogging? That you need to understand. Why are you doing jogging? Running is okay, maybe competitive running is totally different, and just basic jogging is totally different. Jogging is more for health maintenance. But then when you're doing jogging, there has to be certain aspects which you need to know regarding the load dynamics. Load dynamics means, okay, if you are interested in burning your body fat, then you need to run at a particular heart rate.
Okay.
Something like, so let's say if your normal heart rate is 72, but you are doing a jogging at somewhere at 90, it will not help you in reducing your body fat or improving your basic efficiency. So there probably, if you want to develop a little more endurance, a basic aerobic, and also to reduce the fat, then probably you must be running something between 140 to 160 beats per minute. So if you are jogging at that pace, then probably it will help you in reducing the body fat and also improving your basic aerobic base. So yeah, even up to 120 also can help you. 120 to 140 also can help you, but then for longer duration, how long you need to run, that is another thing which you need to look into. Just running for 15 minutes is not enough. In this pace, suppose you're running at 120 to 140 beats per, at least you should be in a position to run around 40 minutes to 60 minutes. Then only it will help you. If you run at a higher pace, 140 to 160 or 160 to 180 beats per minute, then relatively your duration of running is lesser. So something around between 15 to 30 minutes, because you're running at a higher pace, 160. So heart rate will be higher when you run at a higher pace. And so there the duration, you can reduce it to 15 to 30 minutes, depending upon your capacity. I'm just giving you a range only, how much you need to do. Suppose you are emphasizing on something on recovery. That means, now, for example, you are doing some intermittent activity, like casual badminton play or something like that. So if you are doing jogging, then probably what you need to do is that you have to do a kind of interval types of running or jogs, interval jogs. That means, okay, you increase your heart rate to something around 130 to 140, and by doing a short running, short jogging, let's say 40 meters or 50 meters, and then you take rest for something around 60 seconds, whereby your heart rate reduces to below 100. So repetitive workout of this will facilitate you to recover faster after your runs. That will help you in activities like casual badminton playing. It's casual, not for higher level badminton games. So for higher level, probably you need to have higher badminton. And in this casual badminton play, again here the thing is that it's only just stroke movements rather than moving across the badminton court. That means shuttling across the badminton. It's more of stationary play. So for those kind of people, okay, lower heart rate activity and lower duration of activity is suggested.
So there is a question from Shobha Rani. Shobha Rani, who deserves our appreciation because she is the first one to log in every day. Today is the 5th day and she is always the first participant to log in. Now her question is walking regularly more beneficial for health than running for people of 40 years and above, she asks.
Now, if you're a trained person, then okay, running is better. Trained means...
No, not a sports person at all, nowhere connected to sports. So, walking, will it be beneficial? Is walking beneficial?
Yes, walking is beneficial.
On regular basis.
Yeah, rather than running. For those who are just trying to maintain the fitness, okay, for them walking would be ideal enough.
How much?
Again, it depends. Something around 40 to 60 minutes of walking per day, and your target of heart rate should at least be something around 120 minimum. It should be maintained around 220. Then probably that would be a good sign that okay, you're doing a good fitness workout through walking.
On regular basis, this has to be done.
Yeah, it has to be done.
Okay, once in a day, 60
Once,
minutes.
yeah, 40 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
And always, I mean, if you have a heart rate monitor which is fixed onto your watch or something like, and which will give you information of, okay, how much is your heart rate during the walk, then probably that kind of things would help you in controlling the speed of the walk.
Walk. Okay.
And then again, there may be issues of uphill walking, downhill walking, or a normal plain walking. So if you are actually downhill walking, okay, the gravitational pull will facilitate you to walk at a higher pace. But uphill walking, probably you need to put in a lot of effort. So you cannot have a long stride in uphill walking. You need to have relatively shorter stride and quicker stride in walking. Here, what happens is that the mechanics is that your body is vertical while doing the upward climb. In walking downhill, then probably you will have relatively your center of gravity is automatically falling outside your base, so your speed of walk could be a little more faster. And if you're walking on a plane, okay, then relatively you are, according to your stride length, you could manage your movement speeds.
But whatever it is, 120 heartbeat, that should be maintained. We should be cautious of it.
Yeah, I'm just telling, but yeah, for a person who's actually walking at the age of 40, yeah,
A
normal.
person of 40 to 45 years old or above.
Yeah.
So there is one more question from Nagendra Naik. His question is, does running or doing walking on cement and tar road, does it create any problem to our knee or ankle? Should we be selective in choosing the ground? Should it be tar road if tar road is harmful, or whether it should be mud road or cement?
Yeah,
which one do you suggest?
Ideally, avoid all this kind of hard running surfaces.
Okay.
Or even walking on hard surfaces. If you can avoid, it can reduce your speed of tear and wear about the joints and ligament that is around your knee joint or ankle joint. That can be the speed of tear and wear can be reduced. But if you are opting for like soft surfaces like sand or grass surfaces, what happens is that when your foot is landing, the impact is taken by the sand or even by the grass. So the loading on the knee joint and ankle joint and hip joint is relatively less in this kind of surfaces, and that will help you in sustaining for longer time. But anything on cement surface, probably what you need to do in your body mechanics is relatively you need to have flexed ankle joint, knee joint at the time when the foot is landing to reduce the impact on the knee especially. So you cannot have your, something like this. You cannot have your knee straight during the walking on hard surfaces. Slight flexion and land on heel, but relatively a knee with a slight knee flexion. So that can help you in walking on hard surfaces relatively. But if you are maintaining, people who are actually above 40 years, then probably I suggest softer surfaces, and those who can manage to walk in cemented area, okay, then they can manage with bit of knee flexion.
There is another question from here. They say that many people suggest that instead of walking straight to and fro, it's better to take the shape of 8. Draw 8. How does this mechanism help in maintaining the fitness of our body, sir? Is this beneficial? 8 shape we have to draw and then walk accordingly, or this to and fro straight, is that beneficial?
Actually, there is no scientific evidence in terms of physiological changes that is taking place in the athlete who are walking in terms of 8,
Ah.
figure of 8. But if you look into track, running in track, okay, all the track running is towards anti-clockwise. Okay, so where actually the body lean is towards the left side, and in such cases, what happens? The heart is more onto the left side, leading to facilitating a better there is a pumping in terms of body lean in while running in curves. In straight, it doesn't matter much, but then relatively. But then again, it depends upon how efficient your heart is. So relatively, they have only made the athletes to run anti-clockwise rather than clockwise. But people generally speak saying that, okay, walking clockwise is also good. Sometimes we need to make athletes to train both clockwise and anti-clockwise to get adapted. That's all. There is no evidence-based research on this yet.
On this has taken place. Okay. One more question is from Nagendra again. Nagendra Naik, this is. So do you suggest running or walking to burn belly fat, which is the most common problem of everyone, midriff?
Yeah. See,
So,
running is, if you want to burn fat, you need to have a higher pace in which you are doing running activity. Higher pace means longer duration, and you need to burn more calories. So whereas in walking relatively, you burn lesser calories unless you are doing brisk walking throughout. Okay. You can burn more fat basically through running rather than through walking, because the energy expenditure in
is more
running.
running. Yeah. So there is another question from Ashok Moti Bennur. His question is, sir, please give information about water loading for sports person and non-sports person during training and workout.
Okay. See, water is actually very important especially for long distance runners. Hydration is always important. If you don't hydrate yourself, then probably your body begins to, the execution part will be relatively less, and that will reduce your efficiency of running. And if the muscle does not have, the main thing in the body is that, okay, 70% of body consists of water. So if you play a hockey match, you find that after 70 minutes of game, you reduce your body. Actually in hot weather conditions like Malaysia, when the temperature is around 35 to 38 degrees, you find 2 to 3 kgs body weight is reduced after 70 minutes game. So we had to replenish these people with water, or especially with water, and see that, okay, these people regain back their body weight. If not, what will happen is that there could be a lot of cramps and pulls, and that will lead to reduction in performance, as well as it may lead to some kind of these issues, medical issues. So in between activity also, you need to regularly consume certain amount of water. Maybe after, especially now we had a Colonel Chhetri, who was running marathon. Probably you need to formulate a training plan to when to drink water, after 10 laps, or after 5 laps, or maybe after 5 kilometers, a sip maybe taken. And you find in international competitions, after, I think, after every 5 kilometers, and towards the end, probably You find after every 2 kilometers, water stations are there. They put water in glass and keep. So in order to cool your body, probably they pour the water overhead, or sometimes that is actually to reduce the heat in the body. So reduction in heat will help you to perform the activity for longer duration.
So there is another question from Nalabelli Radhika, who asks, so could you suggest some simple exercises just to remain fit in life for a non-sports person?
Okay.
Daily exercise or a regime, a discipline.
I mean, basically, what we can do is that, okay, select 10 to 15 normal exercises, which includes joint mobility exercises. So round about 5 joint mobility exercise and round about 5 to 10 strength exercise. Strength exercise means own body weight exercise, like push-ups, sit-ups, or even core strength exercise, maintaining body planks, side planks, just in a position to maintain something like this in push-up position and maintain it for some 30 seconds or so. So in this, you can maintain in different postures. Nowadays, if you actually click or search in net, okay, core exercise, you find so many exercises which can be done by you at home, and that is actually to maintain your body under a bit of strength and suppleness. But if you want to develop reduce body fat or anything like that, probably a bit of walking or jogging is essential. Something around 30 minutes of jogging or something around 40 minutes of walking would help you to maintain your fitness. So this in terms of general. But then probably before doing all these things, okay, what you need to do is assess yourself. What is your body weight? What is your body, heart rate? Or whether you are in a position to take up the load. All those things you need to assess either through a medical doctor or through a self-assessment. If you are in a position to assess yourself, then you can assess self. And then always better to consult a trainer or for a program. What kind of program? Because what we do is that now, for example, how we do modeling for people. Like now, for example, we have a weightlifter. Okay, let's say the calf muscle circumference should be this much. So how much of exercise needs to be done for calf exercise? The thigh muscle circumference should be this much. So how much of exercise and what quality of exercise needs to be worked out for quadriceps? So you have a proportion. Okay, this is let's say if this is something around a cross sectional is around 50 centimeters. 25 centimeters or 30 centimeters means, okay, this should be something around 12 to 15 centimeters. So that kind of proportion, if we can make and then design programs according to this, is actually for specificity of sports. Okay, but then if you want for your thing, okay, then you need to work on that. Sometimes some people have belly fat. Okay, how much is belly fat? Okay, so working on that area, you find you need to select exercise which can burn fat in that particular area, and how to burn the fat, what kind of exercise, single arm exercise or multi-joint exercise or single joint movement exercise or additional weight you need to use. All those things can be planned, and according to that, if you do, probably you can reduce your fat. And apart from that, also you need to consult a nutritionist also regarding what kind of diet you need to do. So
there is a question on that also, sir. Could
so
you
actually,
suggest a diet? They have asked.
I'm not the right person to suggest. I think yesterday's speaker would have been much
yes.
to suggest a diet, because you need to see, okay, what is your intake, how much is your burnout, and according to that, you need to choose
Calories.
your diet. Yeah. So and that will be an ideal thing. So yeah, and also while you're going for doing some workout, probably your dressing also needs to be looked into. Your clothing, dressing means clothing, and also footwear. You need to have a good footwear which can give you reduce your impact while running or walking. The insoles needs to be looked into, and then also the clothing material. If you're having like churidar and wearing churidar and then going for doing exercise, probably your movements are limited. Whereas if you wear a tracksuit or something that, then probably you have little more efficiency of movement. Your movement efficiency can be little more better, and that can facilitate you to perform much better.
Okay. Nagendra DK has a question here. Are BP and heartbeats related?
Yeah, of course. Physiologically,
Yeah.
related basically. We find that, okay, your systolic or diastolic, when it's actually high or low, based on that, probably your heart rate also will be
yes,
linked to that.
Okay. Then there is a question from Dr. Muni Narayanappa, that is, sir, can we play shuttlecock even after 50 years of age? And should we be selective, an aged person, should he be selective in selecting the exercise activities or sports activities is the question.
Yeah, badminton can be played at any age. There's no issues in that. But as I told you that relative movements, you can go for lunging, too much of lunging, or probably your jumping smash. Those kind of activities you cannot do because too much of jumping smash will always have an impact on to the knee joint and ankle joint. Because relatively at age of 50, you won't be having that much of muscle strength as that you were having at earlier age.
True.
There would have been atrophy in terms of muscles and unless you maintain those qualities, then probably it will not be a problem doing jumping smash, or lot of court movements may not be a problem. But then relatively your stride length, all the step length, all these movements in the court will be somewhere around 2 meters to 2.5 meters. You won't be moving to the front court, or you won't be in a position to move too much into back court or something like that. Yeah, ideally, if you want to restrict movement like that, then okay, playing doubles badminton would be much better, because relatively your movement will be lesser in the court, and the frequency of shuttle coming will be also faster. So you can do that. Then the second question was on selection of exercises. Yes, ideally, yeah, selection of exercise also needs to be looked into. Okay, what is the focus of your training? Based on even it's not selection of exercise is not only for old age athletes, but also for youngsters also. Even when the youngsters are doing, they also need to select that exercise based on their demand. What kind of, whether you want to develop muscle bulk, or whether you want to have strength endurance in the muscle, or you want your muscle to quickly contact and relax. So based on that, your methods of training varies. Based on that, your selection of exercise varies. Because now if you do with barbell, you can't do explosive movement too much with barbell. Whereas with a dumbbell or with a ball, iron ball, your explosive strength can be developed for a badminton player at a faster rate as compared with the barbell. So if depending upon the activity what you want to do, your selection of exercise should be based on that. What exercise is to be selected, which muscle is to be developed, and the idea behind training that. Those things need.
And we are running short of time, sir. So one last question we shall take now. That is from Balaraj DB. He wants your advice. He says, I'm 28 years old. I run 4 kilometers in 25 minutes at a stretch in the evening. Many suggested that if you run the same in the morning, it will be more beneficial and effective. So what do you suggest, sir?
There's nothing, when I look into, there is nothing in relation whether you're running in the morning or evening. But now I just give an example. Okay. Monday to Saturday, you are training same 4 kilometers running in 25 minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, you are taking rest. So when you train on Monday, the improvement is not going to be so much. Whereas the systematic and continuous training for the week to Friday or Saturday, because of regular training that has taken place and summation of fatigue. See, every time when you train, there is a fatigue that is developing. And from Monday to Saturday, the summation of fatigue, 6 days trainings, summation of fatigue will facilitate in your effort on Saturday's run much more than on Monday. Because when you're training under fresh condition for aerobic qualities, it will not improve. But when you are training under fatigue condition for aerobic quality, it will improve. You get my point? Yes. So, but for speed, it is reverse. If you train on Saturday, continuous training, and if you train for speed on Saturday, you are already tired, and under tired condition, if you try to train for speed, your speed will not improve. Whereas under fresh condition, only you can train for speed. So on Monday, if you are doing training for speed, it will help you in improving speed qualities as compared to 6 days training and training for speed on last day of the workout of the week.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you so much. There are hordes of appreciation for your presentation. The very useful, informative insights that you have given about the mechanics of the sports, mechanics of the body for the teachers. It will go a long way as the teachers could pass on this knowledge. They have been enriched by your presentation and the discussions also. This would go a long way in their profession because they are the ones who would pass it on to their students. So thank you so much, sir. I would also take the time to thank Colonel Chhetri for his useful tips in the beginning of the session as he is invited as a special guest here. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Colonel Chhetri, sir. I extend my gratitude to all the participants who have remained glued to this online webinar, and their response is also very, very encouraging for us, as they have said that each day we have been enriched, and truly it is a faculty development program is what we received feedback, what we have received. Manually also they are asked to send the feedback and even online feedbacks, and this is really motivating for us. I extend heartfelt thanks to Dr. Muninarayanappa, the principal of Government First Grade College, Hoskote, who, like a pole star shows direction to the wandering ship. Like that, with his battalion of teachers, he has organized this with a very, very thoughtful, selective topics. And I extend my heartfelt thanks to principal and his organizing team, the conveners, and each and everyone who are directly and indirectly responsible in making this a great success. Thank you so much. And the message that we have gained today from today's this program is: run when you can, walk if you have to, crawl if you must, but just never give up. So with these words, I take leave. Thank you, one and all.
All right, thank you.